Hello, everyone. This is a continuation of the victims of the Highway of Tears. Hazel White, no age, homicide. Klukels, however you pronounce it, Lake. On 29 April 1996, White was killed staying at Bonnie Mooney's house. Mooney's ex-husband, Ronald Kruska, broke into the house, killing White and wounding Mooney's 12-year-old daughter with a sawed-off shotgun. Several weeks before the attack on the 11th of March, Mooney went to Prince George RCMP to report that Kruska chased her in his vehicle after an argument. The officer, Constable Craig Andrewchuk, took a statement from Mooney and advised her to get a lawyer. Her case was then closed and left uninvestigated. Kruska attempted to set fire to Mooney's house and killed himself with a shot to the head from his gun. Kruska was on probation at the time after serving 21 days in jail for choking Mooney and beating her with a cane. He had also been convicted of manslaughter in 1979 and of sexual assault in 1985. Wendy Ann Twiss-Gratt, 47, missing, Prince George, August 1997. Disappeared while shopping in downtown Prince George. Her vehicle was discovered at what is now Value Village after she was reported missing on the 18th of August, 1997. The case idled for years until husband Dennis Ratt was charged with second-degree murder in 2008. Dennis was enticed to confess to undercover RCMP officers during a Mr. Big sting. During the operation, Dennis confessed to shooting his wife and dumping her naked body in a swamp. Dennis Ratt was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of his wife. Linda Frank, 36, homicide, Terrace, 1998, December. Linda was stabbed by Christopher Maurice Alexander in her Terrace apartment on December 9, 1998. Alexander was 17 years old when he broke into LaFranc's home and stabbed her 83 times with a knife taken from the kitchen. Her 7-year-old daughter was in the house at the time. LaFranc and Alexander were known to each other and were neighbors at the time of the attack. Christopher Maurice Alexander was arrested in late 1999 following an RCMP Mr. Big operation during which he admitted to the killing. He received a life sentence in 2002 on a second-degree murder conviction. Alexander was granted day parole in April 2015. Amanda Jean Simpson, 4, homicide, Prince George, 1999, October. On the 30th of October 1999, Amanda was taken to Prince George Regional Hospital with massive head and abdominal injuries. She was brought to the hospital by her mother and stepfather, Terry Walton and Ronald Roaring. Poison. She died 3 days later in BC Children's Hospital. During a coroner's inquest into the case, 3 different medical experts testified that Amanda's injuries were not consistent with Ron Poison's version of events, that Amanda fell. Dr. Margaret Colburn of BC Children's Hospital, who examined the girl before she died, told the inquest that Amanda's head injuries were similar to those that would be suffered in a fall from a 3-story building. Dr. Colburn said this wasn't an accident. She was beaten to death. In the doctor's opinion, Amanda had been battered, shaken, struck, punched, kicked, stomped, and perhaps thrown. The inquest ruled Amanda's cause of death as homicide. Between 1991 and 1999, the BC Ministry of Social Services had received 22 child protection complaints about Amanda's family. Only after Amanda's death was custody of her 3 sisters handed over to the ministry. Despite the testimony of numerous witnesses, 3 of them expert witnesses, and a criminal inquiry ruling the death a homicide, charges were never laid in Amanda's death. Terry Walton did take the government to court for custody of her remaining children. Monica McKay, 18, homicide, Prince Rupert, December 1999. McKay was last seen by friends before midnight, 31st of December 1999. She was reported missing 2 days later by family when she didn't return home. Her body was discovered on January 8, 2000 by a passerby. McKay's body was dumped beside a dumpster. Even though this case meets the criteria of the EPUNA, RCMP reported that they had no reason to believe that this was connected to the Highway of Tears cases. Constable Mike Herchuk of Prince George RCMP stated, "When you get the volume of kids we have missing, especially those that are turning up dead or sexually abused or kidnapped or tortured, you can't help but want to connect the dots. No suspects have been charged to this date." Tracy Nadine Jack Wolf, 28, homicide, Prince George, July 2000. Tracy was shot by her estranged husband on the 5th of July 2000 at Harley-Davidson dealership where she worked in Prince George. She was shot with a large caliber handgun. Witnesses reported seeing her chased by Wolf across the parking lot and into the dealership while he shot at her. One witness who eventually wrestled the gun out of Wolf's hand reported that Wolf stepped on Tracy's back and then shot her in the head before shooting her boyfriend in the stomach. Gordon Darrell Wolf was arrested soon after the incident and was sentenced to the maximum penalty of 25 years for first-degree murder, 15 years for attempted murder, and 1 year for a contempt of court, all sentences to be served concurrently. Savannah Hall, 3, homicide, Prince George, 2001. Savannah was found gurgling and gasping by foster parents Patricia and Thomas Keene in their Prince George home. A leather harness, the sort normally used to teach toddlers to walk, would be fastened to her chest and shoulders. Straps would be then tied to her crib to keep her in place. A coroner's inquest was held, which determined the cause of death was homicide. No charges were ever laid. However, the Keenes were taken off the Ministry of Children and Family Development's preferred homes list for foster care. Thomas Keene subsequently attempted to sue the BC government for loss of profits due to the loss of income his family received from foster care after being removed from the preferred homes list. Ada Elaine Brown, 39, unknown, Prince George, 2001, April. Body found on April 9, 2001 in a hotel room in Prince George. According to the CBC, the coroner's report lists the cause of death as subdural hemorrhage and complications of alcoholism. The family believes she was assaulted and killed by a man she knew. No charges have ever been laid. Lee Marie Faulkner, 21, homicide, Prince George, 2002, February. March 2002, submerged under the ice of Beverly Creek near West Lake after police received a phone call from a Surrey lawyer telling them the location of the body. The official cause of death was asphyxiation. According to evidence heard at the preliminary inquiry, Neudorf, Lee's boyfriend, choked Faulkner until she passed out. When she regained consciousness, she threw up and choked on her vomit. Tyler James Newdorf, 22, was arrested on 19th of April 2002 in Kamloops, BC. He was charged with second-degree murder but pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of manslaughter on June 10, 2003. He was sentenced October 3, 2003 to 7 years plus time served. He was released October 15, 2009. Nicole Hoare, 24, missing, Prince George, 2002, June. Nicole was last seen hitchhiking to Smithers, originally from Red Deer, Alberta. Nicole was last seen at a gas station at 5952 Gauthier Road, west of Prince George, on the 21st June 2002 at approximately 14:50, walking towards an orange car driven by a Caucasian man, but was not seen entering the vehicle. Police investigated convicted murderer Leland Vincent Switzer and searched his Isle Pierre property, but no further actions followed the investigation. Kayla Rose McKay, 13, homicide, Prince Rupert, April 2004. McKay's body was found 15th of April 2004 near the Prince Rupert Harbor front on George Hills Way. Although RCMP stated that they are confident McKay did not die from murder or suicide, investigators said they were not ruling the possibility of criminal involvement in her death. No one is in custody. Helena Jack, 71, homicide, Burns Lake, 2004, July. Jack was murdered on 29th of July, 2004. Her badly beaten and burned remains were found in her burnt-out garage next to her home in the 600 block of Highway 16. Evidence in the garage led to the local hotel room where evidence was found to convict Vincent Sam. Vincent Sam was charged with murder on the 4th of September 2004. He was later convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. Barbara Ann Joseph, 43, homicide, Fort St. James, 2004, September. Barbara Joseph was last seen on September 4, 2004. Her body was discovered on September 5, 2004. Joseph was last seen alive at 11 p.m. She was found in a house on Lower Road in Nakas City the next day. Her throat had been slashed. Joseph's cousin, Winchester Orlando Thomas, was convicted of manslaughter. Arrested November 2004 and sentenced to 12 years on October 30th, 2006. In a press release, Sergeant Steve Burney was quoted, "The members of the North District Major Crime Unit and members of the Fort St. James and Tachi Satellite detachments spent their own time to bring this to fruition. It was revealed in court that both Joseph and Thomas had been at a party the night of her death, where an argument had broken out between the two. Thomas ended up choking out Joseph, cutting her throat, sexually assaulting her, and then cutting her abdomen from her right side to her navel. The official cause of death was asphyxiation from blood in the lungs." Margaret Newski, 89, missing, Fraser Lake, 2004, October. Was last seen hitchhiking near Fraser Lake when she went missing on the afternoon of Saturday, October 2nd, 2004. She was last seen near the Notley Road turnoff on Highway 16. A helicopter searched for her on October 5th, 2004. She was suffering from dementia and had difficulty walking. RCMP stated that they think she may have been trying to get to Prince George, or she may have been headed into the bush in search of her traditional trapping territory. Melanie Dawn Brown, 31, homicide, Prince George, 2004, December. Found deceased in a Prince George basement suite on 8 December 2004. Cause of death was a gunshot wound. Mary Madeline George, no age, missing, Prince George, 2005, July. Mary was reported walking to a clinic in Prince George when she was last seen on July 24, 2005 at 6 p.m. Tamara Lynn Chipman, 22, missing, Prince Rupert, 2005, September. Last seen in Prince Rupert on 21st September 2005 at about 16:30 while hitchhiking east on Highway 16 near the Rupert Industrial Park. It is believed that Tamara was trying to get back to her home. Chipman lived in Thornhill, BC, and was facing assault charges at the time of her disappearance, with a promise to appear in Terrence at the same date as her appearance. According to Tamara's father, Tom, she was in Prince Rupert visiting friends and her mother, and Tamara hadn't touched her bank account since September 2005. Tamara was 5'10" inches tall and 130 pounds. Tamara was known to wear wigs. Tamara was first reported missing by her father in November 2005, with the Terrence and Rupert RCMP launching a joint investigation on November 15th. Search efforts are aided by family, friends, and volunteers and involve searching every logging road between Rupert and Terrace. A brief search was also done in Vancouver's downtown east side. Candace Marie Kolmakoff, 20, homicide, Prince George, January 2006. Candace was strangled on the morning of January 1st, 2006 by an acquaintance, Vernon Kyle Wilson from Kispio. After leaving the Iron Horse pub at approximately 12:15 p.m., Wilson, Kolmakoff, and a friend returned to Kolmakoff's home on the 500 block of Winnipeg Street. Both Wilson and Kolmakoff were intoxicated. After the friend left, Wilson entered Kolmakoff's bedroom. Wilson said that he and Kolmakoff had passionate, mutual French kiss before Kolmakoff turned away. At that point, he was overwhelmed with rage. He grabbed her by the throat, threw her on the bed, and started choking her. He hit her in the face. After Candace stopped struggling, he didn't know what to do. Wilson said he went outside, smoked some marijuana, then went back inside and raped her body before or after looking at violent pornography on the internet. Later on New Year's Day, Wilson gathered up the bloody sheets and disposed of them in a dumpster. He purchased a plastic tote container and put Kolmakoff's body in it. He took her to the alley behind the 1500 block of 15th Avenue and attempted to burn her body. However, that did not work. After meeting his stepfather, Wilson led police to the body around 8 p.m. on New Year's Day. Wilson reported the details of the murder and attempted cover-up to the forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Shabaram. Candace was a nursing student at the College of New Caledonia. Vernon Kyle Wilson, age 19, was arrested the same day of the incident, charged with manslaughter, and was later sentenced to life in prison on Friday, August 31st, 2007, with no chance of parole for 13 years. Isla Katharina Sarek Auger, 14, homicide, Prince George, 2006, February. The body of Isla was found February 10th, 2006, shortly after she went missing on February 2nd, 2006. After going to the mall with her brother and sister, Isla went to a friend's house for a sleepover overnight. She was spotted walking north on the 2100 block of Kansas Street. Video surveillance shows Isla walking towards her home and passing the Save On Foods gas bar at 100 to 1600 15th Avenue at around 1 a.m. It was reported that she was last seen getting into a black van. A motorist found her in a ditch near a turnoff on Highway 16 near Tabor Mountain, nearly 12 miles east of Prince George. Stephanie Joy Donnelly, 16, homicide, Kitimat, 2006 November. Stephanie was stabbed 3 times in the heart and had her throat slashed by her father, Blair Evan Donnelly, and evening of 23rd of November 2006 between 9:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. Blair intended target was his wife, whom he believed a divine force was telling him to kill. The incident happened in the Donnelly's home. Blair Evan Donnelly, 47, at the time of the incident, is a Kitimat electrician who once trained a pastor and helped establish a church in Ontario. Was found not guilty by reason of mental disorder in January 2008. In February 2009, he won a chance to have unsupervised community visits up to 28 days in length. While out on one of these visits in October 2009, he stabbed a friend, but this time was held criminally responsible for his actions. He is now back in the hospital, and as of April 2011, the review board has ruled he may have escorted community visits again if the hospital director thinks it is appropriate. Now I'm going to end this video here. There will be one more to follow, but I have to charge the phone.